Welcome to the Love Osho podcast. Conversations with outstanding human beings whose love has been inspired and transformed by Osho. Take a deep breath and enjoy the show.
Hello and thanks for tuning in. My name is Swaram and I'm the host. Today our guest is Pratiksha Apurv. Pratiksha Apurv was born into Osho's family and after discovering her talent for painting has become a very well-known Indian painter within a short span of time. In 2016, Pratiksha won the National Award and her exhibition Mystical Moments was inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. I'm so happy to have Pratiksha on the show and I hope you enjoyed. Pratiksha, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm in total bliss.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so normally I start the podcast by asking guests how they have come across Osho, but your situation is quite different. So I'd love to hear how you are related to Osho and if you can share with us something about your childhood days with Osho in Gadarwara.
Yeah, definitely. There are so many memories of Osho in my heart. Since I was a child, ever since I was born, Osho has already started traveling. By that time, he was already Acharya. He never missed coming home, every month or sometime twice in a month. My mom's room was the best room in the house, where Osho used to stay. Whenever he used to come, I remember when I was around 6 or maybe 7 years old, his arrival was announced 2 days in advance. So my mom's room was used to neatly cleaned for him. Our town, Gadarwara, was not a metropolis, but still it was well connected in terms of road and railways. So whenever Osho was home, there used to be a row of visitors from the town to greet him and meet him. Every and each such occasion felt like celebration. I always called him Bade Papa, which in English literally means elder brother of the father. Despite using warning to all the children, including me in the house, that we should not disturb Osho, I always insisted being close to him. So whenever he was home, I used to sneak inside the room on the pretext of taking out my clothes from the almirah. I used to spend more time than usual to take out the clothes while acting as if I'm not being able to find something. Then Osho used to call, Pratiksha, what are you looking for? And my reply would be, Bade Papa, I'm not being able to find my blue skirt. He used to smile, a very serene and profound smile. He told me that while putting clothes in almirah, it should be arranged color-wise. Like all the blue clothes has to be kept in particular position and similarly other colors. I felt very happy. That was, in fact, a message for me. And even today, I arrange my almirah color-wise. I used to be on his lap many a times. Osho sit on the bed in mom's room. That was such a serene experience for a child, and I can never forget those moments, sitting silently with him. On certain occasion, family members used to sit around him. He always inquired well-being of everyone, and even in extended family. One could feel his compassion. Sharam, I would like to tell you about my hairstyle also. He tried many hairstyles on me. Many a times, Osho used to cut my hair himself. And sometimes he guided my other uncles how the hairstyle should be. He never allowed tying of hairs like ponytail because he said it wasn't good for developing brain. I still can't tie hair. Can you believe? If I do, I get headache.
Wow, that's so interesting. Looking at the picture of all the sannyasis in Pune 1, they were all with long hair and very loose and wild. So that's probably is coming from Osho.
Yeah.
And just for the listeners, I would like to just clarify a little thing because you mentioned before that Osho at that time was known as Acharya and he used to travel across India to give lectures. And then reading his books, I came to understand that even though it was very tiring, but he would always want to come back home.
When he was at home, all the family members get to regenerate it also. He used to relax and rest, but I was a very mischievous child.
You wanted to be close to him as much as possible.
All the time, yeah, as much as possible. And I'll tell you one more story about when he used to take bath, and I used to wait outside his bathroom. As soon as he finishes his bath, I will be the second one to go. You know why? The moment I used to enter, the bathroom used to be full of different kind of energy. It used to be filled with different kind of fragrance, which I never again found in my life. So there was so much energy. Then I used to sit there for 5-6 minutes, inhale deep before I go for my shower. That has been the most wonderful experience of my life. I still feel his fragrance around me. What a lucky person I am, I feel.
Absolutely. And it's amazing that you're here to share these beautiful moments with Osho, which are quite rare. I'm very fortunate to have a chance to speak with you and record this. So you definitely are a very special soul and a special child, and I'm very lucky to be so close to Osho. And in fact, at the early age of 11 years old, you took sannyas at your own request. And that's quite remarkable and very precocious. Can you describe how did that happen?
Yeah. When Osho moved to Pune, first time with my grandparent, I went in October 1975. So I used to go for evening darshan with them every day. As soon as Osho enters, he used to first touch his father and then mother's feet. Then he would sit in his chair. Then I would stand up and sit, I would touch Osho's feet. I learned sitting in utter silence as a young child and drinking the nectar from the source, sitting in front of him. On 18th October, after touching his feet, I told Osho that I want to take sannyas. I was just 11 years old. No one in my family was sannyas until then. Osho smiled and asked me, "Have you asked your mom about it?" I immediately replied, "When you are there, why I need to ask mom about it?" Again, he smiled and gave me mala. Name he didn't change because my name was given by him only at the time of birth. Then I bent and touched his feet. Since it was a normal mala for grown-up sannyasin, it hit the floor and created some sound. Osho then asked Lakshmi to take me to mala shop next day and get a mala designed specially for a child. Next day, I went with Lakshmi and designed my own mala. I think that was the moment when Osho has decided that later I would become a designer. The mala that I had designed became the standard mala for children taking sannyas.
Did your parents follow you in taking sannyas?
Later, in 1976, all other my family members, including my parents, they took sannyas. So I was the first one in my family.
You paved the way. So I understand that after taking sannyas, you lived in the commune. You stayed in Pune. Can you talk about those days with Osho as a child in Pune? Because I hear very different stories from children who were in Pune at that young age, with especially from the West, with parents that were coming from the West with small kids. And obviously they enjoy lots of freedom, but some of them, they kind of nowadays say that it wasn't all roses and all beautiful for children because they felt a little bit neglected, that they couldn't spend time with their parents. Their parents somehow were more attracted to Osho than to the children. So I'd love to hear your experience as a child.
Let me first start, since you have talked about freedom, then let me explain something about that. There's something beautiful about the word freedom. It is like giving someone wings to fly. In our family, the message from Osho was very clear and loud. Give total freedom to the children and at the same time make them responsible. Osho told us with freedom comes responsibility. I will give you one example. As a child, we never had to ask for money from our parents, unlike other kids in our school who were given a certain amount of pocket money. We were given access to the safe where money was kept. We were allowed to take out the money that we needed. And if we want to buy something, He just take the money without asking mom and dad. And whatever is left after the shopping, we used to put it back in the safe. This was our routine. This was our first lesson from freedom with responsibility. That we had all the freedom to take out the money, but it's spend it with responsibility. So this we learned, like from the very childhood. Now I will talk about the Pune days. We were living in Lausu house with my grandparent where the dental chair is placed nowadays. That was our room. I will like to narrate one story how his grandfather has taken sannyas because my grandfather has taken sannyas, his father. So he used to sit in the meditation early in the morning each day. The same night when I took sannyas around 5 a.m., my grandfather started saying something in gibberish and the whole body started shaking. I woke up and saw grandmother putting her hands on his forehead to comfort him. She told me to go and wake Lakshmi up. I went to Lakshmi and knocked her door. She said, "I am coming soon. Will you go and knock Osho's door?" I knocked Osho's door. He opened the door in few seconds. I told that Osho that something happening to grandpa. You please come soon. Lakshmi came and took blood pressure. Meanwhile, soon Osho entered the room. He touched his father's feet. My grandfather was in a trance. Osho looked at his father and said not to worry because sannyas is happening to him. He was totally fine. Osho then asked Lakshmi to bring mala. When Osho put the mala around his neck, grandfather suddenly became normal and so much peace and lot of grace appeared on his face and tears were flowing. My grandfather then asked Osho to stand on the bed. When Osho did, grandfather touched Osho's feet. I was witnessing a miracle. The father was touching the feet of his son, his master. It was heavenly feeling, out of this world. The son first touched the feet of the father. After father took sannyas, he touched the feet of the master, his son. There was different kind of energy altogether in the room. I felt like witnessing a phenomenon that would never be repeated again. So this kind of experiences, I had in Pune ashram.
That's absolutely incredible. And
Yeah.
I think I read in one of the books when Osho talks about his previous incarnation that it took him hundreds of years to come back to the body, to planet Earth, because he couldn't find the suitable channel, the suitable parents that could give birth. So clearly Osho's parents must have been incredible people. And as far as I understand, they both reached enlightenment. Can you talk about that?
Osho declared his father's enlightenment. When Osho was already in body in 79, he declared, but mother left in 95, but Osho already declared her earlier. And I often used to go with my grandmother to Osho while Osho is taking lunch. So I would like to tell a few experiences about that also.
Yes, go ahead.
So 18th October, I took sannyas. 19th, I went for this, mala thing. And 20th October, I went with my grandmother while Osho was taking lunch. So first thing Osho inquired whether I inform my mom about the sannyas. I was at a loss how to inform. He then asked Vivek to bring the pen and paper for me. Soon she brought it. Then Osho asked me to write a letter to my mom. I said, I don't like to write the way I have been taught in my school. It sounds so superficial. Then he said, what do you want to write then? I said, in school they have taught to write respected mother. And I would like to write my most beloved mom. He said, okay, write what you feel, not what you are taught. Follow your feelings always. Then I wrote. He asked me to read it loudly for him and asked us to get it posted. There in those moments, I believe, he showed the seed for my writing. That was another blessing from him that today you see me as a columnist and author. Everything in my life has also blessings, besides having his blood and genes. After writing a letter, he gifted me 100 sketch pen and he asked me to draw. I just loved them. so many colors, and perhaps that was the indication about my life ahead, first as a fashion designer, followed by my life as a painter. There was very subtle meaning everything he did. He encouraged me as a child to use mind as an instrument. While giving pens to me, Osho told me that I should share it with my brothers and sisters. This was just a small message, but very firm, to strengthen the foundation that sharing is of the utmost importance, to make the humanity little more blissful, little more beautiful. So, these are the moments I can still.
Well, it's very beautiful to hear that Osho used to encourage you as a child to follow your feeling and not just do what you're told, and give you so much freedom that comes with responsibilities. So we will talk about you becoming an artist in a very short span of time in a while. And this kind of little episode that you recounted about Osho giving you the box of sketch of pen to encourage you to draw is almost like as if planting the seed of a painter who will flower later on in your life. But before that, I would love to hear a little bit more about then your journey as a child in the commune, because I also understand that when Osho left Pune to move to the USA to eventually settle in Oregon, you followed.
I followed, yeah.
And how was to live in Oregon after your days in Pune? And how did you manage with your family and commitments with school, etc.? And it's such a big move all the way from India to America.
Well, my school was already over. Till that time, I passed 12th. In 1982, we moved with our whole family to Rajneeshpuram. I went to live there in city of Rajneeshpuram in Oregon when the process to establish our very own international commune was taking shape. You know how you feel when at a young age, suddenly you find yourself at a center of new kind of transformation that Rajneeshpuram has provided. Saram, I was hardly 18 years old, but with the grace of the master, I was able to witness desert turning into oasis. There are some feelings that cannot be expressed in words. Rajneeshpuram was such a feeling, but for our listeners, I will narrate few experiences. Everybody was working there on a mission mode. After all, it was master's direction, and everybody was slogging 16 to 18 hours a day. But interestingly, that wasn't tiring at all. We used to feel fresh and even more energetic the very next day to start our constructive and productive work. Osho was abundant source of energy for us every day. Every day, Osho used to go for his afternoon drive. So we all used to line up alongside of road and wait for him. His darshan regenerated every day. That is precisely the reason no one felt tired despite working for such long, grueling hours. There was a lot of learning experience for me personally. I worked there in Central Records Department, where records of all the sannyasins from across the globe were maintained. The penetration of computers has not been very significant, and I was able to learn the alphabetical record system. It worked well. Whenever information about any sannyasins were required, I used to pull his or her card and provide the required input. Another very interesting phenomenon that I could recall for our listeners while working in Central Records Office is the fact that someone was doctor, someone was engineer, scientist, advocate, professor, actor. But in Rajneeshpuram, it didn't matter to them or to anyone what they were, what professionally they have achieved. Anyone could do cleaning or cooking or gardening or other work. No work was small or big. It was indeed a bliss to see everybody was enjoying whatever they were doing. Each moment always felt like big celebration. Or I can say, in other words, it was, it was not like work. It was like worship or sadhana. I feel so fortunate that I have been grown up in such environment. At that point in time, I could grasp Osho's message that whatever you do with full awareness and totality, it becomes creative. My whole life with my master is learning process. It has been constant flowing throughout the year.
That's very refreshing to hear, especially after the release of Wild Wild Country. Have you seen it?
Part of it, not the whole thing.
Okay.
Because I love to paint 8 to 10 hours in a day. So I don't get into so many other things.
You don't have time for Netflix, which is a good thing. But anyway, so what you just said, it's very refreshing because people somehow forget or don't give enough importance to the fact that thousands of people were there building a city out of nothing in the complete desert. There was this energy source. There's something so special that it's very difficult to describe, but people were working such long hours, doing all sorts of jobs, but they were happy, full of energy, excited, vibrant. At the same time, these people were doing hard labor, building a city for free.
we were regenerated every day with Osho's energy.
Nowadays, people get paid lots of money to do all sorts of jobs, and most of the people are totally miserable. Okay, well, thanks for sharing and bringing this light into the events surrounding Rajneeshpuram. So when the Oregon experiment was over, you returned back to Pune and finally you settled in Delhi. And then something interesting happened to you. You picked up the brush and moved into your inner world. You became a famous and well-established painter. And the interesting thing is that you have never received any formal training in painting, yet you have grown into a famous artist. So how did that happen? Can you talk us through this topical moment in your life?
First, let me speak about my Jorva part. Then only I could reach to the Buddha part, When I returned from Rajneeshpuram, I met Swami Apurv in Pune, who was managing trustee in the commune at that time. We liked each other and decided to walk together on new journey. So I sent his picture to Osho, seeking his blessings. Osho knew him very well. He immediately sent his blessings and love. Since then, we are living together in oneness. So with Swami Apurv, I shifted to Delhi because Osho in 85 asked us to move to Delhi and helped whoever comes knocking our door, guide them, he said. As far as to meet our necessity for our daily lives, we started a garment factory from scratch. Just one tailor and one cutting master. I joined there as a fashion designer. I was not trained as a fashion designer. But if you remember, I told you earlier that Osho has already decided certain role for me. Within no time, we became country's largest men's suit maker. I also launched one fashion label named Oshonic. Since then, I designed for well-known musicians, singers, models, actors, cricketers, apart from more than 500 elite families of Delhi. It was a great journey, I must say. But as usual, something more was waiting for me. One fine morning in 2003, I realized that my Jorva part is over. I had so much outer journey while designing clothes. In a split of second, I quit the glamorous world of fashion designing. When I was at the peak, and at that time, when around 400 people were working under me, I felt urgency to balance my inner and outer. And then another page was turned. I picked up brush to paint. This was too without any technical training. I would listen to Osho's discourse and experience them on my body and mind. Soon I started giving colors to his birds. I felt really contented. Many people visiting us home, requested to exhibit my paintings. I finally agreed. My first painting exhibition was inaugurated by former Prime Minister of India in 2007. He also mentioned in his inaugural speech that it is not just a play of colors. These artworks are coming from deep meditative energy and they are thought-provoking. And he further mentioned that I would like to bow down to you, and while suggesting me, he also told me to continue my sadhana, my search. This was a huge compliment coming from the Prime Minister.
Well, congratulations, absolutely. And I've seen some of the work you've done, and it's really unique and it's absolutely incredible. And next time I travel to India, I definitely want to come and enjoy your art in some of your exhibitions. Yeah. I'll put it in my diary for sure. And
definitely.
Your work as an artist is known as meditative art.
Yeah.
Which sounds absolutely... Yes, if you could describe what that means and how meditation and art blend together in your life.
Let me tell you the difference between meditative art and traditional art in just a small sentence. Traditional art is height of knowledge and creativity, while meditative art is peak of consciousness and creativity. And this is precisely the reason I don't paint casually, but consciously. My paintings are coming from my being, from very deep meditative state. As I told you, majority of my artwork are my experiences. I have found the theme and colors through diving, discovering oneself. Sometimes I feel that meditative art is like that bird which is flying in the sky without leaving any trail. However, a seeker can see the bird is following its own path. It is a pure form of awareness, and paintings are byproduct of oneness with the existence. In a very short span of time, meditative art started receiving acceptance from all art lovers. Being the pioneer of this genre in India, I had additional responsibility of reaching out to vast audience. I started using various mass mediums available for it. Journalists as well as art critics started praising my work. So it took some time, but government of India also acknowledged my contribution for meditative art, and they gave me the National Award in 2016, which was a huge compliment. House Museum was opening in July 2016 for the public. President of India himself selected a collection of my paintings titled Mystical Moments for this occasion. All three top heads of the country, President, Vice President, and Prime Minister of India, graced my show, which was a historical and rare opportunity for any artist.
Congratulations. It's quite incredible what you have achieved. It's incredible to hear that you are a pioneer in this new genre called meditative art, which has been acknowledged by the government in India. And it's also, for me personally, beautiful to hear that modern country can appreciate and understand both meditation and art, and only India could do that, I think, and that's the beauty of India, and I hope it will still preserve that uniqueness about understanding of the importance of meditation, art, creativity, and consciousness. One of the perhaps secret sources of your success is that you use art as a form of expressing Osho's vision. Could you elaborate and expand on that?
Yeah. As I told you that I listen to Osho and grasp everything he's saying. So at the same time, I don't follow his words blindly. I experiment on my body, mind, heart, and soul. When I experience whatever he has said, when it becomes my truth, then only I give colors to his alphabet. You can say that I'm painting Osho's vision on the canvas, my master's vision. I feel with all its splendor and grace, it's total prayer. It is a bridge to bliss. While explaining some artwork, I realized that people sometimes may miss the tremendous beauty of the message. So I decided an elaborate sheer bliss through alphabets. I started regular column based on my paintings and for the seekers. I have a feeling that use of mass media could be the best utilized for transformation, and this is what I am trying to do. Besides writing a regular column in newspaper, I have also written a book which has been published by Times Group Book. The book tracking my life's journey has been titled as The Mystic and Her Colors.
Now I'm very curious to hear how you give form to these feelings and connection that you have with Osho. Would you be able to describe the creative process of how you sit in a room and perhaps meditate, listen to Osho, and then you start painting? I'd love to picture in my mind and connect with you in the process of creating and giving form to your art.
Yeah, I will tell you. Once when I was listening to Osho on how to go beyond the senses, I felt some kind of temptation to try it. No doubt, this simple technique is meant for one who has desire to experience the life beyond the senses. Few days later, I tried this experiment on me. The moment I closed all the 7 openings of my head, ears, eyes, nose, mouth. Consciousness that usually flows out stopped. The very moment I stopped breathing, my mind too stopped functioning. The condition of the mind with breathing was broken. Now the experiences of those senses cannot move out. It remained inside. That very moment, the space was created between the two eyebrows. The moment I experienced this space, it took me to inner world. This was fascinating experience. In the process, I realized that all the 7 openings are conditioned. I must have sat down daily for about 6 months for this stimulating experiment. The day this experiment was over, I could feel my inner world. Then only I could complete my painting, which I titled as Beyond the Senses. Another experience I will like to share on soundless sound. Osho has talked a lot about Om, the soundless sound. I must have listened his series of discourse, Ek Onkar Satnams, and number of times. The process of my painting starting from drawing on the canvas is very unusual. In a sense, unless I experience the theme, I cannot paint. I never take up the brush unless until that experience starts sowing within me. I will tell you a small story. I generally take afternoon nap after lunch for an hour. That has been my routine from decades. As I used to lie down on bed around 3, the same time our neighbor's water pump will start making very harsh and loud noise. Now, in that situation, it is really difficult to sleep. Then I started chanting Om with loud sound in the background. Slowly and slowly, within minutes, I could drift into deep sleep. After a certain period of time, that sound of Om is echoing within me, round the clock. I don't have to chant it anymore. It is happening all the time, like torrential rain. The sound of water pump doesn't matter to me at all now. Whether in silence or in marketplace, no sound disturbs me anymore, Swaram. When this realization happened, then only I could paint 2 of my paintings, which I titled one as Soundless Sound and another one Heartbeat of the Absolute. So these kind of like experiences I have, then only I paint. If you want, I can share one more.
Oh, yes, please, because it's so interesting. And I believe that the reason why your paintings are so powerful and people can relate and love them is because
Osho's energy.
And also they come out of your experience. Yeah. So, yes, please share one more.
Yeah. I was working on the layers of consciousness. I had to go on surgery. So after the surgery, doctor advised me to take complete rest for 3 months and take daily doses of painkillers. Honestly speaking, Saram, I never like to take any painkiller. So I thought, why not to try self-hypnosis, which I have heard from Osho. I thought maybe this is the right moment for me to do this experience. Mind is just the outer part, which I learned from childhood, that it should be used as a slave, not as a master. So I went in the layers of consciousness. As I entered the unconscious layer, this was bigger than conscious layer. I moved further to collective unconscious layer and later to cosmic unconscious layer. And from there, I commanded that I am having no pain and I will be healed very fast and I'm not going to take any painkillers and all that. I had seen and experienced totally different world within layers. So many shades later I depicted in my painting Beyond Psychology. You will be surprised to know I was healed within a week. I haven't taken any painkiller. After a week, when I met doctor and told him that I am back to my routine and I'm already working on canvas, he was shocked. He couldn't believe that my condition could improve so much, within a week. And when I displayed this painting in an exhibition in 2011, one of the scientists came just to see this painting. He questioned me that how I know so much about the colors, about the layers of consciousness. My reply was simple, that all these colors I have experienced while going through the layers. He said, we have reached to the same conclusion. We have found the same result while doing the research on the layers of consciousness. Why I'm sharing this? Swaram, when science proves something, then only it becomes the truth for people. Then only they believe. So it is not like that I listen to Osho and follow him blindly. I try and experiment everything in my body, mind, heart, and soul, and I paint the experiences, not just the technical themes. And how the people are getting healed through these paintings, I would like to quote one or two incidences. While having exhibition in Chandigarh, one woman was visiting my show with her husband. After seeing my paintings, woman came and hugged me and told me that she got retired as a principal from some convent school just 20 days back. And from almost 20 days, she was having depression and headache. After seeing my work, she felt so rejuvenated and all her headache and depression was gone. Later, she introduced me to her husband, saying that he's a famous painter and it is not like that I'm seeing the colors are painting for the first time. For whole life, I have been seeing my husband's painting, but your painting has some different energy altogether. Later, her husband also congratulated me for using so many colors in such deep harmony. He said in his whole life, he could maximum use 3 to 4 colors in one painting. So that was another, like people getting healed and getting compliments. So one more thing happened in Chennai. One woman stood in front of my painting for about half an hour. Before leaving the gallery, she said, I'm a spiritual healer myself, but this painting of yours healed my stomach within few minutes, which was suffering from last so many days. And she asked me whether she could bring her clients to be healed through my paintings. I told her this is a public gallery. Anyone can come. From the next day, she brought 8 to 10 clients daily till the exhibition got over. And I was witnessing a miracle there every day. So what to say now? This is,
I also don't know what to say, but it's incredible, and clearly something emanates out of the art that you produce, and probably the reason why that happens is because it comes out of deep meditative state that you achieved out of your own practice. Being as a child with Osho and very connected to Osho probably helps. Okay, Pratiksha, so I'd love to hear something about your current projects. We're heading towards the end, and I'll ask you 3 final questions. But before that, I'd love to know if you're working on anything specific at the moment.
Specifically, right now, I'm making another painting on Ek Onkar Satnam, and we are working on a project. As I told you, I live in a moment. Whatever surprises comes to me in my way, I fully enjoy it. Swami Apurv, my husband, is building a museum in Pune to preserve my paintings. This is going to be a permanent structure where people can enjoy my artwork. Our main idea is to create a place that would be open for art lovers and meditators from across the globe. Till now, people could only see my artwork during exhibition, or they can log on to my website. This proposed museum would provide a space for art lovers and seekers to walk in and get drenched in Osho's vision.
Wow, that's such a project, and you're definitely a lucky woman and lucky wife to have such husband. Yeah. So congratulations, and that's amazing. And did you choose Pune because of specific location, because of Osho was there?
The Osho was there, that is one thing, and the weather is very good in Pune, and it is art city also. And it is connected to, the highways connected to Mumbai. And I like that place because I lived there for 10 years in Pune, and I like that place very much.
Well, that's a great idea. So people can go to the resort and then at the same time enjoy your art in the same city. What's the timeline for completing the project?
It will take maximum, I think, 2 years, because just now we have started. It is a huge project.
It is indeed. But 2 years is quite, short term for such a big project. So amazing. Yeah. Okay, so I've got 3 final questions for you. The first one is, what's your morning routine? How does your morning look like in the first couple of hours of your day?
I generally wake up around 7 a.m., fresh and alive, and pay my gratitude to existence for giving me another day to carry out the work and share whatever I can share with everybody. My sleep is very aware. So when I wake up, there's no burden of dreams on my shoulder. And mind is utterly emptied, as if some vast expanse of universe is waiting. After tea, I proceed for physical exercise because the whole night the body was in horizontal posture. And in order to obtain tranquility, one needs to have substantial exercise. I am very fond of cooking. So while my domestic helps are busy doing some other work, I cook my breakfast and lunch. And by 9:30, after taking shower and breakfast, I directly move to my studio. As soon as I enter the studio, I switch on to Osho's discourse and start painting.
The second question is, what's your favorite meditation and why?
I have tried almost all meditations on me ever since I was a child. Over the period of time, I realized that Kundalini meditation best suited for me. Also, because while painting, I'm in a sitting posture for long hours. Body movement is must. And while dancing in free flow in second step, I'm completely lost. I love Kundalini without any reason because I never have any burden in my mind. Mostly I have no thoughts. Nowadays, I do Kundalini to maintain my physical body. It is very important because body ultimately is a very beautiful phenomenon. Body is a real temple of God and it should be in such a state where it helps meditation and not hinder it. In the transformation of our life, body plays a vital role and we must purify it to make things happen.
The last question is, what does it mean to you personally to be with Osho today in 2018?
I cannot even think a moment without Osho. I live him 24/7. I breathe him 24/7. I have no existence without him. The kind of exposure Osho gave me since I was born is unparalleled for any child or any seeker or any disciple. Every day life is taking a new turn and I see life as a pilgrimage. I feel so grateful to Osho for guiding me on my path.
And how is it for you, your connection with Osho now that he's no more in the body?
I am more connected to him. 24/7, I breathe Osho. Apart from having his blood and genes, I feel him 24/7. I just can't imagine anything without him. I'm totally connected with him all the time.
Thank you so much, Pratiksha. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and I can't wait to travel to India and enjoy your art live. It's been an absolute honor to be able to record your testimony as a child with Osho, as a relative of Osho, and also to see the flowering of whatever you have imbibed and learned from Osho taking expression into this incredible art that you produce.
Thank you so much. I'm feeling nice sharing my bliss and experiences with you all. Thank you, Saram, again.
Thank you, Pratiksha. Lots of love and a big hug.
Lots of love to you.
Thank you for listening to the Love Osho podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, you can show your appreciation by leaving a review on iTunes. Visit loveosho.com for new episodes, blogs, and much more.